Good morning, everybody. Go Crows! Let's go.
And I'm gonna stay out here with him.
All right, hey, how's everybody doing today?
Good. How are you?
I gotta say, it's an honor to be here and meeting a bunch of you at the tables just around Smallville nights last night. It's really special. 20 years ago, I had a crazy experience at a convention, and I'm like, this is scary, I can't do it anymore. And like, I stayed away for a long time, and I really regret that because I missed out on an amazing group of people, amazing fans, and the thing that I take away from this is hearing the stories, and we touched on this in the panel earlier of the multi-generational people like finding the show when they were in high school or college and then sharing with their kids who are now in high school or college. And it's just really special, and it makes me really, I know I played a small part in this, but it's really heartwarming to be still talking about something I did 25 years ago and to see people love and care about it. And it's really special, so thank you guys.
We're glad you're
You
here.
said it was a small part, but it was a major role for the entire series.
Yes.
I mean,
Kicked us off.
it kicked
right?
us off,
Kicked us off.
but you know, did you have a favorite moment in season 1?
It's funny that I feel like for me it was just the highlight reel. Like I just went from like great experience to great experience. I mean, I have a lot of fun doing what I do. I've been told I'm a little like a golden retriever, so I'm just really excited to be there and just throw the ball, and I'll go and get the ball all day long. But it was a big show. Like I think one of the coolest moments, I think when my dad realized that I might have a career was when we were in Mad Magazine. Did any of you see that? Smallville. And it was like so, and my character, Whitney, was drawn up in Mad Magazine, and for my dad, who was a Mad Magazine fan, it was like, okay, maybe this kid's doing something with his life. And I'm like, oh, so that was pretty cool, but like, yeah, there were so many moments of like random special moments where I can just remember sitting there and go, this is really unique. I told this story the other day at the table, but I first flew into town and we're gonna shoot the pilot, and they bring me into the production office, and you know, I'm nervous, it's a big show, and they're like, oh yeah, Tom's here, and I walk upstairs and I turn around and there's Tom, and I go, my God, it's Superman. And it was just so clear in that moment. He's probably backlit and just like, you know, perfectly handsome, and it was just like, wow, they got him. They found Superman, and I'm like, holy smokes, we're in for something special here, because you know, it was just perfect. It was just absolutely perfect.
Were you surprised by all the fan love you ran into here?
Yes. Well, you were there in those early days on Krypton site. There was not a lot of fan love for Mr. Whitney Portman or Eric Johnson. It was some pretty dark days. But there was, I loved it because there was also those super fans at the time that had Whitney's back. And they were convinced that Whitney was misunderstood and that maybe Clark was crossing some lines.
He was.
Yeah, it's been very heartwarming. You know, I think people have forgiven Whitney a little bit over the years, and it's like it's lessened the blow. Like, but when you start off and you hang up a guy in a cornfield in episode 1, that's a long redemption arc you gotta do, right? Like you started off on the wrong foot with people.
Was that challenging for you?
To be awful?
Yeah, well yes, to be awful,
or
but
to like
also
the arc.
the arc of redeeming Whitney.
I think it was a challenge. It wasn't so much a challenge for me, it was a challenge for the writers. It's like, okay, we've set up this character and like everybody hates him, and like clearly for a reason. And then I think they actually, like, you know, we got asked earlier, like, what would you wish your character could do and like, will live longer? It's kind of funny, but I think Whitney actually got to tell a pretty important story, and I think it was important in the morality for Clark in progressing his story of like, here was this guy, he was going through some things, and then he signs up to join the service, and he goes over and he's fighting, and he doesn't have superpowers, and he's risking it all, and he's trying to do it for the greater good, and I think it was Jonathan or Clark talking, he's like, he's done this and he didn't have any power, he didn't shy away. And so it points to the responsibility that Clark had to step up and do something, even if it was uncomfortable, even if he was scared, to be brave. And I think that's the great lesson, is be brave even if you are scared. Being brave is not the absence of fear, it's doing it anyways.
What was it like to play Tina Greer as Whitney?
Blast, right? So I said this yesterday at the table, it's like, as an actor, it's like the most fun, because you're playing another person playing the person you're playing. And it's like acting Inception. You just gotta go another layer and another layer. And Lizzie Kaplan was phenomenal, and just an incredible actor. And so, yeah, it was a blast. It was so fun to play Whitney as somebody else playing Whitney, but as that person.
Would you like to take some questions from the audience?
Would I? Do we have any questions out there?
If anybody wants to line up on either side, go for it.
Please, hit me with your questions.
These people probably had questions for 24 years.
24 years of questions.
Okay, we'll start out on this side.
Hi, Eric. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
I thought you were great on the show. You weren't just a minor character. I thought you were so important for the first season. I was just curious, when you first started off and you were thinking about your character, did you ever come up with a backstory for how Whitney and Lana met, and like when they met, before the show started?
For me, it was always very innocent, and I think it was the idea of these were the two people that were supposed to be together, right? It's the guy who's going to be the high school quarterback, and the beautiful girl. That it's the destiny, and so I felt like they weren't necessarily together because it was just like they had to be together, as almost like that was the pressure from the environment, which is also maybe why their relationship wasn't all that great. But I think both of them as characters at that time were doing the things that they thought they had to do. Like this idea of like, everybody's got a plan for you, but you don't know what your own plan is. And so I think for Whitney in that season, you see his plans change. He had this map for his life of what he thought he was gonna be. He's gonna be a quarterback, in Metropolis, but then the things change, and goals change, and people change and grow. And so, yeah, that was, to me, it was always about the expectations of who you were. You were sort of anointed and pushed together, not necessarily meant to be together.
Thank you.
All right, this side.
Oh, hello.
Hi. Sorry. I have a friend that thinks that Whitney would have made more sense to be Lois' cousin, because he's in the military, so Lois has this connection with the military.
Oh.
But my question is more like, had Whitney lived, do you have a headcanon that what will be his future? He will be a Clark ally, or he will be still a fool to him?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know what they were gonna do with it. I was always the last to know. I was always the last to know what they were gonna do with Whitney.
Well, do you have like a headcanon, like, if he has say he will be friends with Clark, or
I think ultimately when you start on opposite sides, the only way to go is to become friends, and to be an ally. I think in the grand scheme of things, I think if Whitney had known the secret, he would have understood things a lot more. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, this side.
Hello.
Hi.
And what's your name?
My name is Leanne.
Hi, Leanne. Where are you
Hi.
from?
First of all, from Canadian to Canadian, thank you.
Hello. Sorry, I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
Okay, so what life lessons can we learn from either Smallville / Superman?
What life lessons can you learn from Smallville or Superman? One of the first things that, when I first read the script, this is December 2000, one of the things that I took away from that is that it's important to make mistakes and learn and then do the right thing. And it was important for Superman to make mistakes and learn and do the right thing. And I think that's it's a powerful thing. If you have somebody who's so capable and so strong and could do anything, to make a mistake and be humble and then learn and then be better, I think it's a great goal for all of us. So that was what I took away from the first reading.
Thank you.
And don't tie up Superman in a cornfield.
Do not tie up Superman in a cornfield. People do not like that. Hey, I didn't know the necklace was kryptonite, okay? Like, you're all acting like Whitney knew, like that was gonna hurt him real bad. It was just a prank, guys, relax.
Hi, big fan. As an actor, I know you're always learning, so I was curious if there are things that you can remember learning as Ford that you carried into another character, like, say, Everett on the neck.
Yeah, to your point, I think, yes, what I love about my job is I'm always learning. And every day I go on set is never the exact same day. So you're never given the exact same circumstances. But I always learn a lot from the people I'm working with. And I would watch Tom and Kristen and John Glover, who's an incredible actor. You watch people and see their process and learn things from them. I watched Tom have the weight of the show on his shoulders in season 1, and I don't think this gets talked about enough. It's just how many hours Tom was working that first season, because there was a joke. It wasn't Smallville, it was Hugeville, and we never got anything done. And I think it took us 3 months to get an episode completed because we kept like pushing things to different dates, and like we couldn't get anything done, and it was crazy. And Tom was working like 15-hour days. He was working into like he was doing Saturday shoots, and he did it with such grace and humility and a smile, and he treated people with kindness in a way that, you know, when we're all tired, we're not at our best. But he really handled it like a pro. And it's inspiring. You see people that are in that position and how they handle themselves. And so like things like that stuck with me. Later on when I did a show a few years later called Flash Gordon, and I was in Tom's position, it was like, okay, I know how I want to do this because I've seen how it's done right. So there you go.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Oh, hello.
Hi, again. Smallville has given us a lot of, as fans, emotional scenes throughout the series.
Yeah.
And so I was curious, for any movie, any TV show for you, no matter how many times you've seen it, what is a scene that never fails to make you emotional and why?
Oh, I'm a crier. I cry. As I've gotten older, I cry more and more. I really, really do. I'm just a big softie. I've got a lot of big feelings, and I think movies are an outlet for that. So I get pretty choked up often. I'm trying to think of like, and like, I was also like, this is embarrassing. I was a little Disney kid, and like my favorite thing was like Disney animated movies, and it was all I wanted for my birthday. It's all I wanted for Christmas was like a VHS of the one that they released from the vault. I had to have it. I had to have the whole collection. I mean, I cry at Beauty and the Beast like every single time, like that, every time. Bambi, every single time. And it's like, look, I was a 13-year-old kid rewatching Bambi over and over and over again. Because maybe that was my comfort show, because I didn't have a Smallville at the time. But yeah, it's tears. I'm a sucker for it.
Same, thank you.
All right, Supergirl.
Hi, Eric. First of all, I just want to say thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I hated your character, but
Yeah! I don't think you're alone in that. Who hated Whitney when they first watched the show? Come on, let's go. Yeah! I meant I did my job. Thank you.
yeah, but you are such a kind and beautiful human being. So
Oh, thank you.
So my question is, earlier in the panel, you said that you would be interested in doing another like Superman show or movie if that came out. And so my question is, what role do you think you would be cast in, or would you be interested in playing?
Well, I think if my previous body of work is an indication, I would be some sort of villain. You know, I've got a long list of bad guys I've played. But you know what? It'd be nice to play a hero for once, so I'm open to suggestions. There we go. We got some suggestions out there. So, like, you know, I'm open to any fandom suggestions of how one day maybe I could play a hero. That would be great. It'd be nice to be a good guy on Superman's good side for once.
Thank you.
Hi, Eric.
Hello.
So you've portrayed a number of villainous roles on screen. Do you
Yes.
ever feel the need to be extra warm or approachable in real life to counterbalance this?
1,000%. 1,000%. It's so true. is like, again, I've played a lot of awful people, you know, famously for Whitney, who wasn't awful, but then I think I got like playing worse and worse people as time went on. And so people would like be very nervous to even like talk to me. Because they would like, oh, that guy's kind of crazy. Like I saw him like, he kicked that pregnant lady right in the belly. It's like crazy stuff. It's like, oh, he's super racist. He's like all these like horrible things that I've done on screen. And so, you know, I kind of go out of my way to just like make sure that people understand that maybe I'm not a psychopath, which is nice. And I did this show, we shot it up in Canada, it was called Rookie Blue. And it was actually a very similar situation where I was the guy in between the guy and the girl that you knew were destined to be together. And I was like the guy in the middle, like, hey, what are you guys got something going on behind your back? And like not being a very good guy. And I knew when the show was gonna come out from my experience on Krypton site that there would be some fans that would, you know, blend me with the character and just hate me. So I'm like, I'm gonna get on Twitter and I'm gonna get ahead of this. And I'm just gonna engage with this fan base as much as possible so that they're gonna be like, I hate your character, but you're okay. And so yeah, 100%, that was like damage control from day one. Just engaging with people, just so that I could spare myself from some of the like the venom that I knew was coming my way.
Thank you.
All right, this side.
Hi, Eric. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Sorry, I'm nervous. My question is similar to what others have asked, but just your experience of being kind of like anti-Superman in the beginning, how do you think that shaped your career, your choices in terms of what roles you took, and maybe what roles you were offered?
Well, it's interesting because like, you know, with the very first thing I ever did on camera, I was 12 years old and I was doing like, there was this Ray Bradbury anthology series that shot in my hometown. And the character I played was the bully to the other kid. And I was like, I was doing these auditions and I'd never done TV before. And I'm like, I know what these guys are like. That's the people in school that are bullying me. I'm just gonna do that. Because I mean, I was the weird theater kid, right? Like I wasn't like cool or tough or anything like that. So it was like, I understood that mindset and that's what I did. And then so like my earliest stuff was all just being, and then I looked like the typical American jock a-hole. And I think I did 4 jobs in a row where I was wearing a Letterman jacket. I'm not joking, it was crazy. I'm like, oh, I got another one of these ones. Oh, this one's green, this is different. And it was just very much, I realized I fit that archetype. But it was something that I wanted, that I tried to do with Whitney. And it was something that Alan Miles, I think, did really well, and our pilot director, David Nutter, did, is like they really didn't want Whitney to be that stereotypical jock a-hole. But you know, as the season goes on, you've got 22 episodes to go, and like some of the moments with Whitney would be sort of written a little more stereotypical. And so for me, I was like, okay, I got to twist that. I can't. He's got to be human. He can't just be this villain. He's got to be a kid who's just trying to figure out how to high school like everybody else. And so I would like kind of do things like there's a line, it'd be written kind of like dickish, and I would just like say it really nicely, and it'd be a little different, trying to put that take on it. So I think the thing about playing bad guys that has helped me is that no bad guy ever thinks they're the bad guy. They think they're the hero of their story. So it becomes this amazing exercise in empathy to get into somebody's head to understand like how can you do something so horrible and think you're justified in doing it. And it actually made me a better human in the world because I realized I had to have more empathy with people that maybe I didn't agree with or I didn't understand their actions and understand that, you know, things come from a place of pain. So I then took it as a specialty. I'm like, I've got this like bad guy hack I can do, which is just more empathy and love. So I don't know, it's been something that I've taken a lot of pride in and actually enjoy now.
We love you. Thank
you. That was a very long answer, I'm sorry.
Charlie Thomas.
Charlie! What's up, buddy?
Hello there.
Hello.
Well, again, thanks for coming to this.
My pleasure.
Short notice. But back in season 1,
My
I'm glad
favorite
to follow
season,
up.
personally, I don't know.
Back in season 1, you did a brilliant scene. It was setting up for Whitney's send-off. I come from a military background family, so kudos for that, for playing that so great. There's a certain basketball scene with you and Tom that was really phenomenal, where Whitney's dad dies, and you played off so good, where you're trying to just push it away and everything like that, and Clark, Tom, comes up with and says, I'd rather take the man over the memory. What was it like shooting that scene? Because I could tell that that was just well performed, man.
Thank you, I appreciate that. It was great. I mean, Whitney didn't have a lot to do, but when he did, it was impactful. So the scenes meant something. And I was very thankful that the writers that gave Whitney that arc over the season, because it could have been really easy to write him off as, again, a typical jock. And I really enjoyed, what I really remember about that day is how impressed I was with what Tom was doing on the other side. Because as actors, you really just feed off each other, and Tom was just brilliant in that scene. And I remember feeling so happy with it at the end. Because there's this weird thing when you're doing a scene and you're kind of in it, that you kind of blank out in the middle of it, and then it's over. You're like, oh, okay, what just happened? And it's whenever that happens, you kind of know you're in the zone, you're in the flow of things. And I remember that day in particular. It was it was just a great moment for Tom and I, who realized we didn't have a lot to do together all the time. So it was a treat for me.
Awesome, thank you, man.
Thank you.
All right, this side again.
Oh, hello.
Hi, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I was just wondering if you had any funny stories to share from the set of Smallville.
I do. I don't know if I've told this one to anybody. So I mentioned before, the hours were long, and particularly for Tom. And I'm blanking on specifics of the episode, but it was Clark, Chloe, and Whitney, and we were trying to figure, I think somebody had taken Lana, and we didn't know where they were, and we were looking at a map and trying to figure it out, and we were all getting a little punch drunk, silly, because it was tired. It was tired o'clock, and we started getting the giggles. And really the giggles, and we're just trying to get through the day. And Tom's like, oh no, I think it's just on the other side of the railroad tracks. and he's like, it wasn't railroad tracks, it was railroad tracks. And he's like, suddenly Elmer Fudd. And dying, absolutely dying, can't keep it together, he can't keep it together, and we said, okay, take 2, take 3, railroad tracks, and we're just dying. So finally, he's like, fine, I'm just gonna say train tracks. I'm like, okay, great, Tom, twain tracks. Okay, everybody take a break, we're walking off. We needed a minute, we were just so tired. It was when you get overtired and the giggles happen, and we're all trying to be really serious, but that is, to me, that's a core memory from the show, just getting the giggles when we're trying to be professional.
I hope James Marshall wasn't directing that one.
I don't know.
All right, next, over here, yeah.
First of all, just thank you for coming to Smallville Nights last night.
Thank you, that was fun, huh? If you haven't been to a Smallville Nights, that was my first time, and that is a really good time. Tom and Michael put on a great show. I was entertained, and I hope to make another appearance another time soon. So, but sorry, to your question.
No, just were there any other actors you would have liked to have had more scenes with on Smallville?
I mean, I think kind of all of them. Selfishly, there's more with John Glover and Ed O'Toole and John Schneider, and so this is a little embarrassing. So when I was a kid and I'd play pretend with my friends, we would play pretend of a game called Dukes of Hazzard. And my friend, he was brown hair and his middle name was Luke. So he was Luke Duke and I was Bo Duke, right? And so for me as a kid, Bo Duke was like, this is my hero. I want that car, I want to jump this car, that's all I want to do. I want to slide across the hood and jump this car. So, and I didn't know this was gonna happen to me, but I walked on the set the first time that John Schneider was there, and I nerded out. I was just like, oh, I couldn't talk. I was like, my inner 8-year-old just freaked out and just was like, overtook my body, and I didn't know what to do. I couldn't talk. I got dry mouth, and I was like, I was just like, there he was. There was a childhood hero right in front of me. And so I wish I would have got more with John Schneider. John Schneider came over to my house. So we had an engagement party, and he's like, comes over to my house, and we're just having this big party, and it's like, we're just standing there, and he's just smiling at me, and I'm like, what's going on? He does this. And he points, I'm like, what? He's like, and he points over, and it's my toy Dukes of Hazzard car sitting on my desk, and he's like, I'm like, well, yeah. I was very embarrassed in that moment, but it was very sweet. He was very kind about it.
Thank you.
Question over here.
Hello.
Hello. I had a question kind of relating towards the episode that you played where you kind of got in with the crowd, where you got the kryptonite tattoo,
Yeah.
you know, could go through walls.
Kinetic.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Be the truck.
Yes, be the truck.
Be the truck.
I was wondering if you had any sort of inspiration, and I'm not asking you to spill your guts, just, you know, as little or as much as you want, just asking about if there's anything from your life that you kind of pulled in like that fall from grace moment, you know, that kind of Whitney had in the show. Like, was there anything that you used in your life to kind of get you into that place, or a character or a movie or anything
Like,
specifically
you know,
like that?
I think one of the things about that was the pressure of peer pressure, and, you know, wanting to be cool and wanting to fit in. And I think a lot of people can identify with that at different times. And, you know, you don't want to be ostracized, or you want to fit in with people you think that they're cool, and then you get in there and you're like, I don't know if this is for me. So I mean, you know, I played popular kid in high school on TV. I was not that in high school, so I always kind of felt like I was a little on the outside. And, you know, so doing and saying things to try and fit in with the crowd was sort of all me through middle school, and you know, really struggling to try and find a place to fit in. Of like, I didn't know how I fit in. I was the weird theater kid who was sucked at hockey and you know, lived in northern Canada where that was what you did, right? And so I definitely could feel it, and definitely could sympathize with, and you know, again, you just want to fit in, and you want to be part of something. And you know, they got Whitney at a tough time in his life, you know, but, you know, lesson learned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've got one more question for you right over here.
All right, send us off with a good one.
Okay, so my question is, do you have any souvenirs or borrowed items from Smallville?
You know, they were talking about that earlier on the panel, about souvenirs and borrowed items, and I remember it was like my last day, and the wardrobe guy, Steve Hoban, he was amazing. He walked up to me, he's like, oh, you want your jacket? I'm like, Steve, it's not like I can wear this. Like, and I wasn't thinking like, oh, maybe I'll want this in 25 years and then could like auction off for charity. So it was like, that's a blunder.
I've got it backstage if you want.
Oh, amazing. You got it. But there was actually one very special item, and it was a gift from our pilot director, David Nutter. And I remember it was Kristen and I, we were going to a rehearsal before we even started rolling cameras. And David Nutter had this bag, and he opened it up. It was a script bag, and it had the script, and it had all these like file folder things, and these places for pens. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. He's like, yeah, no, I got this. I use this for all my things. I was, yeah, well, that's really cool. Never said anything about it. 2 weeks later, we all got one, and it said Smallville Season 1 on it, embroidered. I still use it. So when I go to a job and I have a new show and I put that script in there, so every job I do now, it goes in my Smallville Season 1 script binder. And so that's my takeaway from the show.
That's awesome. I have to tell you, in all the appearances I've seen you do over the years, your recall is insane. Insane.
Like, it's so good.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, it's like, you know, I don't have to filter through 10 seasons to pick up the highlights. I got one. You know, I got a very specific group of memories.
Let's give it up for Eric, everybody.